Webinar series. Today we have the webinar on how to write a good thesis. And this is the wonderful topic and every research scholar need to learn. So today we have the participants from the different part of the country, and we have the stalwarts with us. Dr. Surinder Singh is the assistant professor in BBA University, Lucknow. So we welcome to you, sir, on behalf of the Parul University, on behalf of the Parul University Management, President, sir, and Vice Chancellor, sir, and Registrar, sir. And now I over to your assistant professor, Dr. Sonali, madam, for give the introduction of our today's esteemed guest.
Thank you, sir. Uh, Dr. Surinder Singh is currently working as an assistant professor at BBA University, Lucknow. He teaches agriculture economics statistics to master students. His interest is in climate change, agriculture, food security, livelihood security, climate vulnerability, and climate resilience. He has published more than 30 papers in highly cited and internationally acknowledged journals. He also has tremendous analytical skills to handle large scale data sets, including NSO, NF, NFHS, population census, and he's a master to operate statistical software like Stata and SPSS. So now, sir, you can start your presentation. How to write good thesis. Thank you. Please on your camera, sir. Surinder, sir.
Yes. My
You
voice is coming.
Yes. You can on your camera.
Yeah, I'm visible.
No, your camera is off. Yes, now you are visible.
Okay. I would like to thank to Rawat sir and Sonali Narang for giving it such opportunity to convey my ideas about how to write a good thesis. What are the constraints a PhD student or a master student face during a PhD, and how to he deal with these issues. So in this lecture, I will proceed different issues, starting with the psychological as well as institutional resources, and thereafter how to select a rational topic, research topic, what are the literature review, how they can review literature, where they collect the data, what are the potential literature sources, and how a systematically review will conduct it. And I will cover all the issues which related to the writing of thesis. So before starting how to write a good thesis, I have identified basically four issues. Uh, for mostly Indian researchers they have faced. One is inadequate training. Like most of the students, they perceive that they have inadequate training how to collect literature, how to review literature, and how to collect data, how to systematically analyze the data, what are the potential sources. So, what are the potential statistical softwares? What is the plagiarism? So they have inadequate training. The period as per the UG recommendation only 6 months for the training program like the PhD coursework. But most of the researcher I have talked last 1.5 year, and they reveal that, and their responses was not as per adequately. They face that most of the organization, including IITs, IIMs, they have not provided as much as training to the PhD students, so they get enough knowledge, enough training to proceed their research in following years, and how they come up with the high quality papers with the high quality thesis. So whatever they are using resources, that they are mostly open resources, and including the training also not as much as required. So as compared to European countries or developed countries like America and Germany, their PhD students get much exposure as compared to in the Indian. Particularly, I have seen North Indian research scholars, PhD scholar cases. They even after submitting PhD, they even didn't know about the how to test the hypothesis, how to frame the objectives, what are the chapter design, what are the different sources of literature review, and how to write a systematically referencing. So they use manually referencing, while there are so many softwares available. They easily convert any reference in different format, whether it is API, Chicago, or elsewhere, Oxford University Press. So they have inadequate training from the joining first day. Then some at the time of Viva, they are not even. This is the clear situation that they don't have adequate training to proceed their research. Second, lack of resources. They face that they don't have the enough access of resources, including library, e-resources, as well as print resources. Most of the university, particularly state university or some private university, they don't have enough resources because research resources, including the access of high quality journals, books, and data sources, they are too costly, and the budget of library is too much, basically too less to access these resources. That's why most of the students, PhD students particularly, they face that they're not having the adequate access of resources, including the elsewhere Valley, Sage, Taylor Francis. They journals are publishing the high quality papers, while they need a subscription. Most of the papers are subscription based, so mostly those who are working or those who are enrolled in a private university, particularly, and some degree colleges, state university, they don't have such access. So particularly they don't have these access. They don't get the correct information, up-to-date information, what is going on, and how much they contribute to the academia, how they frame the objectives. So this is one of the key constant to write a good thesis. Third one, willingness to do research. Whether researchers are, or particularly those who are involved in PhD program, they are really willingness to do research in a right manner, or just they enroll because of the UGC providing some fellowship, or some funding agency they are providing some fellowship. So that's why they have enrolled. Otherwise, this is also key constant where their willingness. They simultaneously trying to click any national competitive or state competitive exam, simultaneously also doing research. So they partially, or we can say fully, they are not doing their full efforts to do research. So that's why the quality of PhD student, particularly in North India, I feel that it not much as will compare to South India or a European country. If there is any doubt, go to Sodh Ganga website and download any PhD student thesis, and you find there are so many issues, starting from the hypothesis testing, review of literature, data collection, data analysis, review of literature, grammatical errors. So you find so many errors in the thesis. One of the most and key important constant, particularly to PhD students, job insecurity after getting PhD. In India, there is no job security to the PhD students after even they have published so many papers in high quality journals, but they don't have the 100% security to get a job after PhD. So that's why the fear they face, or they feel feel by PhD students, that because of insecurity, why we are investing are giving 100% to PhD. So they simultaneously start preparation for some competitive exams, or doing their private jobs. So that's why these are some basically 4 key constant key issues Indian PhD students are facing to not get enough, or we can say come up with the high quality research. So if we address these 4 issues, definitely PhD student will get come up with the high quality publication, with the high quality of PhD thesis. That PhD thesis definitely will convert in the either editorial volume as a book or as a textbook or as a research book, and easily published with the Springer, Sage publication or Routledge or either elsewhere. So most of the researchers, particularly Indian researchers, they are not come up after 3 year 4 year, they are not able to write a single paper from the PhD work. So that's why there are they face some fear of job insecurity and other issues also. And apart from these issues, or we can say among these four highlighted issues, I would say must focus will be on training programs. So there are so many training program organized by ISSR, UGC, or Central University, or some IITs. They are also providing. They are organizing continuously different training program, either econometrics, statistical techniques, review of literature, how to frame synopsis, how to write thesis. But because of the level of different level of PhD student, they hardly get enough knowledge from these so-called training programs. They are just a picnic kind of basically cultural, or we can say so many. There are so many paraphrasing words. So many PhD students are used for these training program. They just like some picnic kind of things or outgoing, that more mind freshing training program. They are not providing as much as training to the PhD students. That's why they are facing some PhD students. They attend 3 or 4 or 5 training programs, starting from basic research methodology to advanced statistical tools and software paraphrasing tools, plagiarism tools. But they totally confused how to apply these tools in their research. So this is some real and serious issue, particularly facing by PhD students. So apart from these issues, the problem is selection of rational topics. Some students, they just because of the PhD guide is doing some work in some sections, so they also choosing that topic. Like those who their PhD guide working on a health issue, they selected health. Some PhD student guide working on employment sector, so they choose employment. But what is the rationale? Is there any rationalization a PhD student or a guide suggested that the topic will be rational and having potential in future research, and this will help in recognition your work? So such kind of constant also be seen. So what problem, question, issue does your thesis on? So because most of the PhD students, they believe that they either working normative or positive research. They from the starting point, they believe that okay, there is an unemployment issue, so they started to collect unemployment data and use some statistical technique and find okay, there is unemployment, and there is unemployment. Then why unemployment? How unemployment different in regional scales, district level, either district level, village level, or country level. They are not able to differentiate because they are using same variable, or we can say indicators, whatever the earlier researcher also used. So they either added some data or some variable and use same statistical methods. That's why they are not clear. Because of they are going to thesis to synopsis, or we can say results to problem. That's why, because while the real researcher, basically the task of real researcher is to identify the problem, and after identifying the problem, what are the research questions and how thesis will frame on these questions. So why it is important, and whatever the question, research question, problems, objective, hypothesis, a PhD student chosen, why it is important. Definitely it important question, how it will contribute in the future research. How does your work fit into the intellectual context of research, your field? This is also important because some researcher work in Uttar Pradesh, some research some work in Gujarat or some Karnataka. So this is not a basically we can say a substantial contribution in the intellectual property rights, or we can say IPR, or we can say research academia, because you have used the same method, same variable, and just make a differentiation between one state and two state. This is not a right thing. If you are, because if you are serious researcher, you have to come up with the new ideas, new estimation methods, new findings, which is different from the previous research, and this will be a milestone in the research, and make some milestones to the upcoming researchers. Okay, this will now set a new trend. Now the new researcher will come, or they will testified or retestified whatever you have made some hypothesis testing. And apart from this selection of after selection of thesis, the most of the PhD student, I believe, and I also during my PhD journey, I feel that most of the PhD guide, they said that okay, go for the library and collect some literature and review. But they do, because of the inadequate training, they most of the PhD students, they don't know how to review of literature, how to collect the literature, what are the sources, how to write a review, are any universal technique available, what is data mining technique, because there are so many statistical, or we can say computational software available, which are which are most of the freely available and most of the paid subscription based available. They make simplification of review of literature. So this will also help. So how to collect the literature? One of the key constant, like like a PhD guide said, you go to the library or go to any journal and collect some literature and review. But he didn't, because of the inadequate training, he didn't know how to review of literature, how to read any research article, what are the sections of in research paper, how to focus. They just copy paste of abstract and incorporate in their review of literature chapter. So this is the trend. If you go through the Sodhganga and download any thesis, you find that they just copy paste the abstract and incorporate in a review of literature chapter. That's all. But it's beyond review of literature, not as a copy paste of abstract, or we can say conclusion, or mixture of conclusion and abstract. It's beyond the abstract and conclusion. What are the sources? Most of the PhD students, because the inadequate access of resources, they didn't know what are the sources. Either they go for ResearchGate. One lecture I have delivered in April in Aligarh Muslim University. Most of the PhD students, they didn't aware about the ResearchGate Academia. These are some open access resources. They don't have the account. Even they don't know Scopus, Web of Science, even Sodhganga or SCI Hub. These are some sources, freely available sources to the PhD student. There is no need of subscription. And these platforms are providing high quality papers, high quality literature to the PhD student at free of cost. Even Google Scholar are also providing some high quality papers. Some are subscription based, but most of the papers in ResearchGate Academia, SCI Hub and Scopus, they are freely available. So how to write a review? This is also key constant. How to write a review? Whether it is a empirical estimation paper or a book or review paper, or we can say statistical data analysis paper. So this is also key constant. This will I will discuss on this issue, how to write a review. Review also we can say convert into two forms. One is meta analysis review. Second one, we can say theme based review, or any universal technique, because some PhD, some students, they review based on abstract mixture of abstract and conclusion. Some PhD student or researcher, they write review in a argumentative manner, and some PhD students, they use meta analysis to write a review. And what is the data mining techniques? There are some computer based software. This software provides some key advantage to write a review. This will discuss in later on. So these are basically four issue I have identified during the writing of review of literature. First, I suggest do not copy paste abstract and text directly from the previously published unpublished work. Most of the PhD students, they just copy paste and incorporate in their review of literature chapter or in introduction or a conclusion chapter. Literature reviews should be theme based. So because of you are working on some health issue, employment issue, finance issue, like COVID issue or livelihood security issue, so you have to make a review of literature or write a review of literature based on themes. Whatever themes you have, basically you are working. So accordingly, you have arrange your review of literature. Write review of literature in argumentative manner. This will also help in identifying the research gap. If you are not making any argumentative, how you can make argument? Because you are if you are thoroughly reviewing all the papers, whatever you have paper collected, then you have make some judgment. Okay, this is the finding. These are the findings, and these are the techniques they have used, and these are some problems. So thereafter you make some argument, because you have reviewed a lot of literature, and now you are able to make argument. Okay, and thereafter you can identify the research gap. This is the research gap, and now based on the research gap, you can frame your research questions, objectives, and hypotheses. So here I am giving you some screenshot, basically snapshot how to review of literature. So suppose this screenshot provide I have worked on a Scopus database, which is well known and basically highly quality. It providing high quality literature. So I have divided my review of literature in 4 sections: research question, studies selection, evaluation, studies analysis, and research description. So first you have to identify what are the questions. So I am working on climate change. So I have framed some research question based on my objective. So these are the 4 research questions. Farmers' perception of climate change. You may modify your research question as per your requirement, whatever your topic you are working. So you may basically modify your research question. So I have put it 4 questions. Thereafter, Scopus database provides some literature, and initially when I have inserted 4 research questions, I found there are 8,081 papers, because some papers are repeated, and these cover with cross references. So I have removed the cross references and full text analysis, and thereafter I get only 8,007 papers. Okay. Thereafter, I have divided these 8,000 paper into 4 sections, because based on my research question. So you may this called meta-analysis review of literature. So you can also do these things. This will help you how to write a systematically or a high quality literature review by incorporating your research questions. So this will help in 2 dimensions. First, it enrich your quality of your PhD, and it will also help writing a review of literature review paper. So this will help in 2 dimensions. After review of literature, identifying the basically research gap. Now question is methodology. What methodology you have adopted? What are the sources? So what experimental design method did you use, and why did you choose those methods? It is also important, because of the some PhD or some previous researcher they have used, you are also using. No, you have to go through the basically statistical part of any statistical method, and there are some advantage, some disadvantage, and to identify whether the data you have collected is sufficient for applying this statistical method, this experimental design or not, or you are just following the previous researcher work. You have to rationally think about to selection of rational, or we can say experimental design or statistical method, or whatever your method you are adopting. Go through the textbook, thereafter go to the advanced research journals paper. Thereafter you will get some idea, okay, this is the method, and this method will definitely suitable for my research. So what difficulty did you encounter along way? So some researcher they have selected some statistical method and now try to basically apply, but some coefficient value or we can say not statistically significant, some coefficient value not coming as per the economic theory, so they just make some malpractices. They just they change their coefficient sign. So this is common practices we basically observe in Indian research context. So because you are not clearly aware or clearly aware about the statistical method, whatever you are applying your research, that's why some statistical, or we can say model difficulty you are facing. How did you solve or not those difficulty? So some researchers they go through the textbook, identify the method, the advantage, disadvantage, suitability of data, whatever the data they are using. Or on the other hand, they use malpractices, like they change the coefficient value, they change p value, they change test value also. So some researcher they wisely adopted a systematically method to identify the real problems, or some researchers they just use malpractices. So in social sciences, I have identified some open access resources. Some of open access resources like ICSSR, one of the key organization, we can say institution working in social science, Indian Council of Social Science Research, National Sample Survey Organization. It also providing household level data, or we can say empirical data, grassroots data to the PhD student free of cost. Some data is not free of cost, but for PhD student most of the data is available free of cost. Second, nowadays COVID also severe situation, and some students are working on health issues, and National Family Health Survey they have collected regularly, and now 2018-19 they have collected fifth round data. So this provide a comprehensive health profile of India at a household level, district level, village level, and country level. So this data also available free of cost to the PhD students. Census decadal data also available. Population census, this data also freely available to the PhD student or any those who are working on social or demographic issues. Agriculture census, those who are working on agriculture census data also available free of cost. ICRISAT VDSA data, this data also available free of cost. Those who are working on agriculture sector, particularly agriculture and employment sector, those who are working, this data also freely available. Particularly to PhD student, you have to just create a account on the portal or ICRISAT portal, and data freely available. UGC data archive, this also one of the basically pool archive provided maintained by UGC. They collected annual employment survey data, industry survey data. They have so many data sources they incorporate, and this data archive also definitely help to the PhD student. Those who are working environmental issue in Indian Meteorological Department, this data not freely available to anyone. But whenever a PhD student requested to IMD, they also provide graded data to the PhD student free of cost. And some IITs or IIMs or some central university, they also obtain this data from IMD. So there is there is no problem. Anyone can access this IMD data. But the problem with the IMD data, because you cannot calculate or use IMD data directly. You have to learn about the Tally or some programming software. Thereafter, you have to convert data from graded data to Excel files, or we can say estimation in form like district level, like village level, tehsil level, or we can say state or country level. So you have to first learn some programming software to convert the data in estimation manner. WHO, World Health Organization, it also provide data on health issues, employment issues, income issues, but particularly WHO data related to health issues. World Bank, it provide country level data. So those who are working on cross country and issues, or we can say Southeast Asia, BRICS country, European country, they can access data from World Bank. Now, those who are working on field survey data, because some researchers, they are most willing to collect field survey data. Some are those who are working like in the financial sector, so they use RBI data because that data not collected at field survey. So, but those who are working on field survey issues like health, employment, poverty, agriculture, employment, so they need to collect data from the field survey. So the problem is to how to adopt correct sampling design, how to select the variables, how to frame their schedule or questionnaire, and what are the constraints they face. Most of the PhD students, they consult with PhD guide or some junior or fellow researchers. They suggest you collect 200 sample, 200, 300 sample are enough. But the PhD students should adopt some statistical method to for the calculation of sample size, because if you are not collecting representative samples or representative information, that will mislead your results, or definitely this will make some serious issue where if you are not making justification in sampling design. So you have to, or any PhD student, those who are willing to work on field survey data, should adopt a standard statistical method for calculation of sample size by using a statistical method, and the data is methods are available. There are several methods. After selecting the appropriate sample size, so then try to make some pilot survey before final survey. Detail prerequisite for a good thesis. ठीक है, तो पहला what your contribution in the method development. So like some statistical method, these methods are providing, okay, these samples are good enough for any field survey analysis. How this 200 or 300 sample are distributed at grassroots level, or how to identify the representative household is also important. At the end point of sampling design, there is most of the researchers, they use random sampling. So random sampling also have two steps: systematic random sampling or random sampling. So I suggest PhD students should go for systematically random sampling. So this will help, or we can say multi-state stratified sampling method, that will help in collection of representative households or representative data. Are you proposing modifying any step of estimation method? Like you have in the first step, you have use any statistical adopted any statistical method, and find out that okay, 400 sample are sufficient and a representative for my study area. Now, how these 400 samples are distributed at household level, and this is for the distribution of this sample, how you have making any modification or proposing any method like systematically random sampling method or multi-state sampling method at village level or community level or land size level or household level. This is also a key will help in collection of representative samples. Selection of variables also prerequisite, so think deeply before selection. So most of the PhD student, particularly, they face this problem. They have collected data, and when they started to apply some statistical method, they find that the data they needed not collected. So before going to field, you have to critically review any review whatever the statistical method you are going to use, and very much clear about that these variables, this data is needed to apply this statistical method. So before going to field survey, you have to make very much clear about okay, this is these variables are required. Do data is publicly available? If not, then search proxy variables. Like some PhD student, I also basically feel that they went to field survey and collected field survey data, while the same data is available in secondary sources like NSSO, National Family Health Survey. They have already collected this data. They have collected data. Then why you are going to field survey? They have used multi-stage stratified sampling method. They also collected household level data. And then why you are going to field survey? So you have to think about on particularly this issue, that this information already available. Then how your study or how your field survey will contributing in the academia, or we can say IPR. So you have to think about or if you find a similar variable, then go for the proxy variables. Like those who are working on backward class, social class issues, most of the data is not available. Like those who are working Dalit issues, tribal issues, that data as much as not collected by the mainstream, or we can say government sources like NSSO, National Family Health Survey. So if you are going to tribal study, Dalit study, or backward social class study, then definitely use some proxy variables to capture the changes in their livelihoods, their socioeconomic pattern, their demographic features. Because after collecting data or analyzing data, you make some tables, some figures. So I feel that most of the PhD students, they used so many tables and figure. So keep relevant table and figure in the text. Avoid unnecessary table and figure in the text. Most of the PhD students, they incorporated so many tables, so it makes some confusion. So keep relevant tables, figures in text. Avoid necessary tables and figure. Title of figure and tables should be self-explanatory. Those who are basically like for me, if I am a reviewer, if the title of the figure and table is not clear for me, it makes some confusion for me. So make title of figure and tables should be self-explanatory. Mention source of data on the bottom of the table and figure. This is also important. Some researchers, some PhD students, they didn't mention any source of data or in the bottom of the figure and table. So it makes some confusion whether this table is prepared from field survey data or secondary data. So make sure the data definitely available. Definitely the source of data mentioned on the bottom of the table or figure. If you are developing regression table, should add model statistic and double check the statistic you are giving to avoid any trouble. So some, as I have already mentioned, that some PhD students did some malpractices. They change their coefficient value, but they did because of they are not well aware of the technique, how to use these techniques. Like some researchers, they change the coefficient value from negative to positive. At the same time, they didn't change that test value like a T or F statistics. So any reviewer, they easily identified, okay, while the test statistic value is negative, then by the coefficient value is positive. So 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 if you are doing any regression, you make sure or double check the statistic you are giving to. It may make some trouble for you. Now, research results. What are your research results? So, as you thoroughly go through your research from either field survey research or secondary data research. Not make any pre-assumption. Okay, this is the unemployment situation. You have to basically your results, or we can say your conclusion chapter, based on your grassroots findings, not previously research or previously results. How do they differ from what you had expected or from what has previously been done by others? This is also important because you have framed some hypothesis, you have to adopted some objectives. So your results are as similar as you have expected, or are different, or these are as per the previous study. So you have to think about it. What evidence you have do you support to those results? If your results are making some contradictions or providing some different results, then you have to provide some either qualitative or quantitative evidence to support your research results. What conclusions did you reach after writing your results? What conclusion you have reached? Okay, these are my objectives, these are my hypothesis, and now the conclusion are this. So you have to clear about when you are writing conclusion part. Now this slide provides the key information. What especially is your unique contribution? Whether as I have mentioned that some researcher work on Uttar Pradesh, some work Madhya Pradesh, some work Gujarat. So it's not a unique contribution. You just retestified your results, whether it are valid Uttar Pradesh or not. So make your own research results, make your own contribution, and make unique contribution from your PhD work. What are some possible applications, either practical or theoretical, from your findings? This is also important. Whether you are work on empirical data, then what are the practical implications or applications? So that will suggest for policy planning, or any theoretical. If you are develop any theoretical model, or you have remodified any statistical method, that will help in theoretical aspect of research. So you should, when you are writing any conclusion or giving policy implication, you think about the your practical or theoretical application of your research. What future work does your thesis suggest? I have forget one mention here. What are the limitation? There are some limitation, either sample size, or we can say selection of the literature, study period. So you should mention the limitation of your thesis and how these limitation will bridge, or we can say come up in the opportunity for future research. Because a PhD journey is not a last stop for any researchers. So after PhD, they also work on same field. So you have to identify some limitation and make some or basically set some future research goals. These research goals will help you to do research in future. And connection also important. I feel that their connection is missing. Like some researcher, they, because of they are copy pasting, or they are not regularly, or we can say continuously writing, so the connection is missing. Like first sentence is not match having connection with the second sentence. Similarly, first paragraph is not having connection with second paragraph. Similarly, first chapters, connection between chapters also important. Each chapter should consist summary at the end. So you have to summarize the whole things in one paragraph, a small paragraph of whatever you have work on your chapter. Each chapter should be interconnected with each other. Connection also important. In the first paragraph, brief introduction with literature and methodology used in the paper. Do not write separate paper, or we can say, or a separate chapter for socio-economic demographic characteristics incorporate with the main results. So whenever you are writing any socio-economic or demographic features, characteristics, data, you just incorporate in the statistical method, because in the statistical method, like regression or binary logistic regression, indexing, whatever you are using socio-economic data, whether it is collected from secondary sources or field survey. So do not write a separate chapter for socio-economic or demographic characteristics. This is my suggestion. Chapter plan also important. Write each chapter in a standard format, so that you can easily publish in high quality journals. Most of the researcher or PhD students, they just use layman of strategy to framing their chapters in the thesis. While if you are preparing your chapter accordingly in the form of research paper, it will help to modifying from chapter to research format. Chapter should be in concise form, not as much as literature is required, because you have already write a separate chapter for literature review. So make concise form. Title of each chapter should be self-explanatory and perfectly match with the subject matter. Here subject matter are the other PhD thesis topic or objectives of the thesis. Now some serious issue basically PhD students feels they face plagiarism, or we can say similarity index. How to deal with plagiarism also important, because currently UGC suggests Sodhganga, which is not as much as good plagiarism software, but it also requires less than 10% of plagiarism, or we can say similarity index. So think about it, because you are copy pasting or collecting some literature. So you have to sure about that there is no plagiarism issue in your thesis. Do we use paraphrasing tools? This is also important. Some researchers, they suggest that paraphrasing tools will help in reducing plagiarism, but it definitely reduce the intellectual, or we can say knowledge of any PhD student, because they are using paraphrasing software while self-modifying the text, or use data mining techniques. Data mining techniques also available. Some malpractices are available. They easily reduce the plagiarism from the text. Turtle plagiarism software, one of the basically more widely accepted software, or we can say plagiarism software available. It will help to the PhD student from the starting point, from the preparation of synopsis, that okay, this much part of is copy paste, or basically plagiarized text. So if those who are having the access of Turtle, then well and good. Those who are not accessing Turtle software, they basically, I suggest request any fellow friend, those who are working IIT Central University, they definitely having this plagiarism software. so they can help in to reducing or checking plagiarism, because most of the PhD students they don't have in India native language Hindi, or we can say regional language, native language not English, or we can say first language is English. So most of the PhD students they face grammar issues in their PhD thesis, and typo issues like THEN then and THAN then. So most of the so they are not able to differentiate between THEN and THAN, then or then. So, or we can say there are so many typo errors we find if you are read any PhD thesis from Sodh Ganga. So read carefully before submission. Read carefully your text. Avoid any grammatical and typo error. This will definitely reduces your quality of research. If you are if you used high quality data and sophisticated methods, and but you have not able to write in a systematic manner, or you having so many grammar errors, then there is no advantage of some such statistical tools or methods or data. Avoid repetition. This is also important part, because some PhD students they repeatedly write same things. They have mentioned in first paragraph and they also mention in last paragraph. So avoid the repetition. Double check to the text to reduce typo errors. So this is also important. If you are professionally not well trained to write in English, read literature as you can. Take help of seniors. This also important. Now most important part also, or we can say last part, referencing. Most of the PhD students they manually write referencing. So adopt any internationally accepted format, either Chicago, Oxford University Press, Taylor Francis, or whatever your university is adopted. Use Zotero referencing software. This is freely available. You can download it. Also basically come up with the extension of Google Chrome. So it will definitely help in referencing. Double check references mentioned in the text should be in reference list. It also serious issue. For me, if I am a PhD reviewer, PhD thesis reviewer, first I go through the reference. What are the reference a PhD student review, or they have review any literature. So by checking the reference, I can identify it easily that okay, this researcher had definitely did some good work or not, because the reference itself self explanatory of research. If they use they mention or they use high quality we can say most cited literature in referencing list, definitely they went through some systematic manner. So from my side it is end, and over to you, and open for any question answer are welcome. Sonali.
Hello.
My voice is coming.
Yes, your voice is coming. You are done with your presentation, sir.
Yes.
Okay, I would like to ask one question, like, or would like to say you should throw some light on that. What are the opportunity for scholarships? What are the agencies in India that give scholarship for PhD? One is ICSSR. What are the other organization that gives funding to PhD students in India.
Okay. ISSR, UGC also providing those who are working environmental issues. In Sandy also providing some fellowship to the PhD student. Yeah, IC mode one of the basically ever growing, we can say growing organization which is situated in Nepal, and they are working on downstream Himalayan region. They also providing a good fellowship to the for the PhD students. Apart from this, there are some regional organizations also, funding organization. They also providing fellowships apart from ISSR, UGC, Sandy, IC mode, and institutional fellowship also are there. So these are, if you are those who are working on environmental issues, even ministry also providing, agriculture ministry, NABARD, RBI, World Bank, WHO. These are some international, basically nationally recognized funding agency providing fund to the PhD student. But like NABARD or RBI, or we can say World Bank or WHO, you should prepare your research proposal in well manner, or we can say review of literature, review high quality literature, frame your research proposal, because there are several rounds if you are willing to get fellowship from either NABARD, RBI, World Bank, or WHO, or we can say Sandy or ICRISAT. ICRISAT also providing funding agency. ICR, Indian Council for Agriculture Research, this agency also providing fellowship to the PhD student, particularly those who are working agriculture environmental issues, apart from ISSR. So like ISSR, they somehow some stage they compromise from quality of research, but as far as NABARD, RBI, WHO, World Bank are concerned, they need high quality research and high quality research profile of any PhD student. Either he or she published some papers in high quality journals or not. Thereafter, they will provide funding. This funding is much higher compared to ISSR, UGC, or any national funding agency. Or like DAD, one of the collaboration with India or Germany, German government. They also started a PhD fellow exchange program. So it's not necessary you are from science background. If you are belongs to social background, either political science, history, or we can see Chinese government also providing fellowship, Chinese, Canadian government also providing. So you have to visit regularly UGC website to get information on this funding agency about the fellowship.
So I'm concluding today's presentation. We have discussed the issue of Indian researcher, which you said are the inadequate training, lack of resources, and sometimes willingness to do research, and job insecurity as well after getting PhD. And then you have said that one should make a unique contribution in academia. One should make a unique contribution, and then you said that chapter should be made in a concise form, and then you said regarding plagiarism that Turnitin software is considered as the best for the plagiarism checker, and you researchers should avoid typo error mm, and grammatical mistakes in their research. And we have also discussed lot many issues. So we have learned great deal from this presentation how to write thesis. So thank you very much, sir, for your presence, and thank you all who are behind the success of this webinar. So now I would like Rawat sir to conclude to end the session.
Thank you, Dr. Sonali, and thank you very much, Dr. Sindhu, for your wonderful session on today's topic. But I have a question from my side. then you quote that the less than 10% plagiarism is acceptable in a thesis or any kind of the write-up, research paper, etc. So I want to know what kind of the 10% plagiarism can be accepted. For example, suppose in a thesis we have 300 pages, then the 30 pages of the plagiarism can be accepted. It may be any kind of the words and etc. So I want to know that two paragraphs is continuously take as it is from a particular sources, maybe 2-3 pages in continuous form. It is also acceptable or not acceptable?
Yes, plagiarism, or we can say similarity index or similarity report. Turnitin or any plagiarism software, they provide similarity report. So it's not pages, it's word. If you are, suppose you having your thesis or your work having 10,000 words. So each word they have analyzed. Basically, you make some rider also. Like in UGC, up to 14 words. If you continuously 14 words you have copy paste somewhere, that these are acceptable. So first you have to make clear that okay, 14 words are acceptable. Like they assume that okay, these 14 words are acceptable. So make some
So
rider.
14,
Thereafter
14 or 40, 14 or 40.
14
One
words.
four, okay.
If you are 14 continuously 14 words are acceptable. Continuously 14 words if you are copy paste or obtain from any previously, then 14 words are acceptable. There it not cover in the plagiarism report. And second thing, whether it is pages or words, it's basically capture the words, or we can say sentence. Because you are 14 you having 14 words riders, that's why most of the 13 they capture the sentences. So it's not necessary that okay, continuously 4 paragraphs or 3 pages are plagiarized. There is no issue. Issue is the at end of the day, end of the report, they mention each source where data or we can say literature is collected, and summarize the similarity report. This is the plagiarism 10%. So it's not mandatory that okay, in first chapter you have 2 pages of plagiarized, or 1 page plagiarized in last chapter. It's overall like compact. It provide compact report of all the chapters, or we can say all the pages, whether it is a 200 pages or 100 pages. So it provide the entire report of your work, that is 10% similarity. Then this is the things, not a particular paragraph or pages.
Okay, and which one is the good among the Turnitin and Urkun software?
Turnitin is one of the best. It having I think 10 petabyte collection of literature. We having terabyte, megabyte, a TV like terabyte. Then we having petabyte. It's multiple times. We can say millions of papers are incorporated in 13 software, 13 database. As far as Sodh Ganga is concerned, Sodh Ganga only cover plagiarism from Sodh Ganga itself database. So whatever the thesis are included in Sodh Ganga reservoir, Sodh Ganga software only cover this data, or we can say this literature only. It not cover the online resources, we can say Google, Wikipedia, or any paper. It's capture only thesis, whatever the literature available in Sodh Ganga reservoir only. That's why the applicability, or we can say applicability, is much lower compared to any standard software, either authentic software or 13 software, or we have so many software, but most acceptable software 13 software. It's a part of it's also provide so many software apart from plagiarism soft checker. And I will also suggest, sir, because of it's too costly software, easily any organization will not, because it I think 10 lakhs or 15 lakhs cost of annual subscription. So in your university, those who are needed plagiarism report, my university having the access, and I will help. I will help in checking software, because I will not authorize to share my login ID, but I will help in checking similarity report or plagiarism report.
Thank you very much, sir. And one last question is what is the standard page size is required for a dissertation and the project and the PhD thesis?
Yes, sir. It depend on your research. It's not
Approximate.
Approximately, if you are writing a good thesis or project, 100 pages are sufficient. If you have divided your PhD in 5 or 6 chapters, then definitely 100 pages are sufficient. Then it's up to you, but 100 pages are a good number.
Thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful talk and master on today's webinar topic. And you joined the Pew webinar platform second time with the Parul University. Thank you very much, sir, on behalf of the Parul University Management and the Parul University President, sir, Vice Chancellors and Registrar, sir, and want to see you again on Pew webinar platform. Thank you, sir. We also thank your technical team and the Pew webinar team. They're always ready to provide their technical assistance and provide the always technical support to us. And we organize the such kind of the wonderful webinar without any kind of the technical glitches and without any kind of the interpretation. And we are also thankful to our an entire team and faculty member. They work day night to promote this kind of the webinar and make success of this webinar. So again, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And we want to see you again and again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.